Give my phone.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Ryno.
And a good Saturday evening to each and every one of you. Welcome to If You Don't Like That, the Kings Lakers pregame show featuring Gordo, the 100-pound Great Pyrenees, tuning in as well. He's co-hosting with me tonight. Look, the Kings have been the center of the NBA universe for the last 24 hours. Some might argue 48 hours because of how they lost the Pistons game. Bottom line is this: it's for all the wrong reasons. Regardless of your opinion on it, it is done. Mike Brown, no longer the coach of this team. Doug Christie taking over. Kings Lakers tonight from LA. One thing this fan base has got to do.
We can't have anyone freak out there, okay? We've got to keep our composure. We've come too far. There's too much to lose. We've got to keep our composure.
The great Frank the Tank reminding us to keep our composure. No LeBron James, by the way, in this one tonight. We'll talk about it. Also, got some breaking news from the G1C that I think you're going to want to hear. We'll talk about it on the other side. Welcome in to the pregame show right here on If You Don't Like That.
Grant and Ryan, break it down. It's Sacktown, we're the crown.
Needs to be more aggressive on the offensive end, but this is the kind of
Williams, the demon.
Bucks. Goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that.
And welcome back in, Ryan in Sacktown with you. I first want to say thank you to everyone who has supported this channel, who's shown up on this channel, who's been with us the last 48 hours. Maybe you haven't. You caught the replays, though. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. It is not lost on us that you value, whether you like it or not, you value our voices and the content that we are creating here, whether you agree or not. I thought Grant hit the nail on the head pretty damn perfectly yesterday on his show. If you didn't get a chance, go check it out. We're going to be back, though, tonight. As you know, we've got this thing covered from start to finish, beginning right now with the pregame show. You have a couple of ways for you to get involved in the show. You can call using the QR code that is on the screen. Also, you can hit the link in the chat. I'll put it back in there for you one more time. We will get to as many chat messages as we can. Super chats do get priority because they pop up. Always greatly appreciated, never necessary. We're going to start talking a little bit about this Mike Brown move. As I said, reaction across the NBA. We've got a ton of audio reaction this morning from De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, also Malik Monk, Doug Christie running shoot around this morning at USC. So all of that and more. Again, no LeBron James. The Kings look to break this 5-game losing streak and also get a victory against the Lakers this season. So far, 0-3 on the season for the Kings versus the Lakers. No LBJ, that does make a difference. And you know, what's a win mean tonight? I'll ask that to you. I've got my thoughts on it. But as I said at the top of the show, we do have a little bit of breaking news. If you didn't know, Devin Carter was cleared for basketball activities earlier this week. In fact, one day before Mike was let go. And it was a little bit of a surprise for most of us here in town, just because he wasn't going to be reevaluated until the end of this month, or excuse me, the end of next month, maybe even early February. Well, he was cleared. He's playing in Stockton, who are playing actually at the G1C and he's balling out. Last check, 29 points in this one. He's 11 for 18 from the field, 29 points for Devin Carter so far in that one for the Stockton Kings. I would say don't put too much weight into it. Devin Carter should have 29 points. He should be 11 of 8 from the field. Here's the number that I kind of like, though. 6 of 9 from beyond the arc. 6 of 9. He is a first-round pick. You should be balling out in the G League. So good for him. We'll keep that monitored as we go along in the show. But as I said, the big news here, Mike Brown let go yesterday as head coach of the Kings. I talked about it, and I've had some more time to process it since then. And I feel even more strong about how I felt yesterday in this sense. We need to draw a line between the action or the actions and the result. The result is Mike Brown's gone. A change was needed with this team. Now, was that the right change? I don't know. We'll see. Doug Christie takes over. By the way, not Doug's first game as a head coach. We'll talk about that as well here in a bit. But how the Kings handled this situation was horrendous. The fans deserve better. Mike Brown deserved better. It was a complete and utter shit show by your Sacramento Kings. It gave you a glimpse behind the curtain at the shit show that can be Vivek Ranadive as the managing partner of this team. The way that it was handled, you deserve better. Mike Brown deserved better. It's bad. Really bad. And it did not take long. And I want to be fair here. There is a lot of different opinions across the spectrum on this, and I am open to hearing all of them. But a lot of people have weighed in on this, including current head coaches in the NBA who have coached for or coached against Mike Brown. Mike Malone had the strongest opinion of all. Here's what Mike Malone, ex-Kings coach, had to say.
And I go into the meeting, and the coaches say, "You hear about Mike Brown?" And I said, "Why? What happened?" And they said he got fired. And at first, I was really shocked and surprised. And then I caught myself. I said, "Why am I shocked and surprised?" For two reasons. One, because as an NBA head coach, ultimately you're going to get the blame. When they win, it's going to go to Sabonis and Fox. When you lose, it's going to go to Mike Brown. That's the way it works. And two, who he works for. So I'm not surprised that Mike Brown got fired, because I got fired by the same person. And what really pissed me off about it was the fact that they lost last night, 5th game in a row, I believe. Tough loss, fouling a jump shooter. They had practice this morning. He does his post-game media, and he's in his car going to the airport to fly to LA, and they call him on the phone. No class.
Yeah, and all of that has come out. I can confirm all that. I don't need to do that. You've done your reading, I'm sure, if you're watching this program and you've been plugged in to what's been going on the last 24 hours, but not going to rehash it. I think we know what happened. Obviously, as we go along tonight, it's going to come up. I believe this is the first time that you're going to have the opportunity to hear from Jerry Reynolds, which will be at halftime. Make sure you join us back at the intermission. We'll talk about the first half. We will also give you our predictions for the second half and certainly get Jerry's take on the last 48 hours. Very valuable take from Jerry, who's been on both sides of this as a GM, as a coach. So Jerry will join us, and then post-game, we are taking your calls. We're opening it up to you. Let's make it the biggest one of the season, win or lose. Get in here. Grant and I will stay as long as it takes to get to each and every one of your phone calls. So come back here later tonight on If You Don't Like That after the game, and we'll be all over it. Let's open it up to you, and then we'll get some more sound in here. Philip in Folsom. What's up, Philip? Philip dropped off. We're going to Dennis. Dennis, what's going on tonight?
Yo, Ryno, how's it going, my man?
Good. How you doing, brother?
Good, brother. It sucked what happened to Mike. The team started, basically 8-7. Then the last 16 games, we're 5-11. And I don't know if you saw that stat I put up, The last 16 games, I think we won the fourth quarter 4 times, and we're 3-1 in those games. Versus one. Oh, sorry, we also had one tie. Versus all the other times we lost, and won one time. So like those fourth quarter woes, the fourth quarter droughts have been killing us. Um, and I think that's why the change had to be made. Um, it's unfortunate because Mike Brown was such a, I mean, he was great for this community, for the fan base, for Sacramento, and I think he always will be. I mean, he's never going to lose that with us. But I think he
Yeah.
saw that 5-11, and he said something has to give.
Look,
So,
Dennis, again, I have no problem with the Kings making a move. Like I said, the move makes sense. The timing of the move and the way it was done didn't quite make sense. And timing, I'm not talking about the fact that they lost 5 games. I'm talking about you let this guy coach, practice. You let him address the team. You had him talk to the media. You let him pack his bag for Los Angeles. You let him drive to the airport. And then you call him. And the plane has to wait while the team waits to find out who the new coach is going to be? Like, what are we doing? What is Vivek doing? And we can talk about it more here in a little bit. But Mike Brown, I'm happy he got paid, Dennis. I'm very happy he got paid. And you're going to hear a lot of that rhetoric throughout some of the other coaches and players' takes. But I don't care if you're making $30 million. I don't care if you're making 3 cents. He deserves to be treated like a professional. He's a 1%er. Like, you don't do that. So it's a bad look. And here's the bigger thing. This is an awful look for this team in a sense that if you're looking to attract top-notch talent, if you're looking to bring other talent in, Dennis, if you're looking to bring in a high-profile coach, we're literally starting to hover in the range of Jerry Jones. Hover in the range. And don't for a second think that Doug Christie isn't the conduit to the bench for Vivek Ranadive. Don't think that, or don't not think that. It's crazy. So, Dennis, thanks for the call, brother. Dennis coming in, starting us off. Really appreciate it. All right. So let's get back to some of this audio. We heard from Michael Malone. What about Jordy Fernandez, who was on this bench as recently as last year, associate head coach for the Kings, Canadian national coach, and current head coach of the Brooklyn Nets? Here's what Jordy had to say.
Just very good at what he does. This is, in my opinion, one of the best. I would not be here without him. Obviously, to me, is really sad news, and I don't like it. It's part of the business. Things can go one way, where if you think about it, a year and a half ago, he's coach of the year. And now this situation happened. So I wasn't there in the last, few weeks, months. But Mike means a lot to me. Mike is, like I said, one of the best, and seeing this is something that,
So how will the Kings look different tonight? Will rotations look different? I can tell you Domas is with the team. He flew down to Southern California this morning. He participated in shoot-around. So although he's listed as a game-time decision, he is likely a go for this one. And as for the Kings, reaction started to trickle out individually, and I would say pay attention to the different reaction from the different guys on this team. Let's start with Malik Monk, the guy that always keeps it light.
Shocked just like everybody else, I guess. But it's the NBA. Anything can happen. So next man up, I guess.
Make for an awkward flight down?
My girlfriend was with me, so no, I was with her.
What is it?
So there's Malik Monk, keeping it light as he always does. I've said for a while, Malik is the yin and the yang to this team. When things are down, he will bring the guys up and vice versa. So that's Malik Monk on the change. Domas asked similar questions.
For like 30 hours and a lot's happened. Just a shock to them.
Just how do you feel it landed with this team? I mean, I imagine that was an awkward flight.
I just got here, so team landed last night. I was still trying to get better, and this morning I flew in right before shooting.
What would you say just maybe the vibe around the team is right now?
I got here, went right onto the court. We're all focused on winning the game, but we obviously know we haven't been performing at our best, and we have to do a better job. I mean, as one of the leaders of the team, got to make sure that happens, and we gotta win all the games as we can.
Losing Mike and just overall just what he meant to this program. He just signed about 6 months ago.
A lot, I mean, he trusted me in my career, he put me in a position to succeed, and gave me a lot of confidence, and he's helped me form my career, in the NBA. It's just part of the business, things happen that way. I had no idea. I was sleeping, to be honest, when this happened. I was trying to rest, and I got.
Donald, I think, and I don't want to speak for the fan base. In fact, I won't speak for the fan base, but I would be very curious about if the fan base is also drawing that line. And I think what's going to be really interesting too, maybe some of you will be a part of this, is those that go to the game on the 30th against the Mavericks. That's going to be a game without Luka. He's going to be out for a prolonged period of time due to a calf strain. But I'm really looking forward to see how the fans greet one person in particular, and that's De'Aaron Fox. We've talked about a disconnect that's been going on with this team, and I'm not going to lay out the last 2-3 weeks, but let's go back about 48 hours. It's important. Kings, home court, right? Home court. You've got a lead. You're up as much as 19 in that game. The Pistons make a furious comeback. De'Aaron Fox fouls Jaden Ivey, and it's a 4-point play leading to the Pistons' victory. De'Aaron Fox completely out of position on that play. Completely out of position. Mike Brown blew De'Aaron Fox up in the post-game press conference, indirectly mostly talking about really why there was no reason for a closeout. Why are we closing out? You can go back and listen to it. And it felt like that was things coming to a head to a degree. Now, Mike Brown being fired at that point, that would make sense, Dennis. If that's where Mike Brown gets fired after that game at the Golden One Center. And for those that are saying, Mike Brown, unanimous coach of the year, the first year he was here, only time that's happened in NBA history, absolutely. That goes with him. That never goes away from him. He didn't do that on his own either. This group, a lot of this group was responsible for this. I can confirm personally this year, Mike was staying later after games than he ever has in his tenure here in Sacramento, breaking things down, trying to digest the details, make things more clear for this team that was having trouble executing, although some of it seemed very straightforward. I mean, Mike explained it after the game. And then you had De'Aaron Fox's response to that. I'm not going to play it, but it goes something like this. What happened on that last play? It doesn't really matter. It's not going to make anybody feel any better. How's this team going to get ready for the next one? I don't know. Or how does this team improve? I don't know. What do you do to get ready for the next one? You just come and be ready to play basketball. De'Aaron apologized to the team and took accountability with the team before practice on Friday. Now, as for today, De'Aaron was asked about the move. He had a couple of different quotes. Let's start with this one. Here's De'Aaron Fox on Mike Brown's firing.
Doug addressed us before we took off, and after that,
Play that one more time for you.
Doug addressed us before we took off, and after that,
I just got to ask, maybe some of you will get this. Maybe some of you won't. Is De'Aaron Fox doing like the Hogan heel turn from WCW? Is De'Aaron Fox turning into a heel here in Sacramento? That was a very odd answer. Very odd answer. De'Aaron was pressed a little bit more.
As a player, like when something happens like this, any pressure or guilt you feel when something big happens? Like
Pressure or guilt?
Like when something gets fired, do you feel like from a player standpoint?
I mean, obviously, we all know the job that we have. You can be traded at any point, released, cut, fired, whatever it may be. I mean, I wouldn't use the word guilt, but that's the nature of the job that we have. But I mean, obviously, him signing his extension this summer, we felt like we'd be together, a whole lot longer. But that's the decision that they made. But at the end of the day, too, he's still getting paid. It's a great part of being an NBA player, being an NBA coach is those things can happen.
So there is De'Aaron Fox, the face of this franchise, on Mike Brown losing his job. Where do you stand on those comments? Where do you stand? Speaking of comments, we're going to wrap it up with Tyronn Lue, a name, one of the highest paid coaches in the NBA, currently coaching besides Jeff Van Gundy, who has done wonders for that Clippers defense. Without Kawhi Leonard, it should be noted. Here was Tyronn Lue on Mike's firing.
And it's just hard to please everybody. And Mike Brown's a hell of a coach, and one of the most prepared coaches that we've had in our game. And so, do you want a coach that's over prepared, works the guys hard to get better, or you want a guy that he doesn't work hard enough, and so now we got to fire him because he doesn't work hard enough. So it's like, find that balance, which is hard to find. Like whatever's been wrong with a coach that comes in every single day prepared, know all teams top 15, 20 plays, works hard every day to get his team better, and still it's just not enough, so it's hard, and so for me, Mike Brown's always been a hell of a coach. Like I said, he's always been one of the most prepared coaches I've ever seen and talked to as far as preparation, and
so there's Tyronn Lue on Mike Brown's firing. This fan base is polarized. I think this fan base is a little confused. I think the fan base is feeling a little bit lost. What's this mean for this team? Is this the first domino? Is there going to be another domino? We'll see. Doug Christie takes over tonight for the Kings. He'll be the number one on the bench. We'll see how it plays out for them. Fourth meeting between the Kings and the Lakers this season. The Kings, losers of the first three. In fact, we can put up the numbers really quick for you. Here's the numbers. Kings on the right, Lakers on the left. That's what each team has done against each other in all three of the meetings. Let's get to some of the comments. Where are you at? Fox week. Okay. Dennis chiming in. Stockton wins the game. Looks like 109-107. Been monitoring it here. Yep, 109-107. Devin finishes with 29 points in this one. If you follow me on the X, you'll see that I put out a post last night about Devin Carter and what this is going to look like with his assignment to Stockton. There's no details on how long he's going to be down there, but in terms of playing for them in games, I have been told that that is going to be largely up to Devin himself and how he feels coming off of practicing. And now tonight, his first game action, 29 points for the Stockton Kings, 109-107. But I reinforce, he should be scoring 29 points when you're in the G League and you're number one pick. John, only team who trades with the Kings after Mike Brown fired is the Pelicans. For Fox, A-Rob, yeah, it's a decent point. Now, if this is not the first domino to fall for the Kings as we bring you back in, then what does it look like for them with the trade market? And I think it's a fair point. the Kings, if they were to look to make a move right now, you're going to take a little bit of a haircut. There's a difference in what you pay when you are in need. When demand is high, sometimes you pay a little bit more. And the other direction, demand's low. Sometimes you can get a good deal, such as Zach LaVine. They can't give him away right now. They couldn't give him away this offseason. So there's a valid point in all that. And what does it look like? Look, De'Aaron Fox has made it very clear he wants to win. De'Aaron wants to win, whatever that looks like. He has been a stand-up guy here in Sacramento. I think he has done, for the majority of his tenure, a great job for this team. I thought his play at times this year has been the best of his career, specifically when his three-point attempts are just in line or right there in line with his assists for a game, which means he's kind of hitting on all cylinders, getting to the paint and also getting his teammates involved. But the last 3 weeks, in my opinion, have been a complete embarrassment. Borderline derelict. Borderline. And whether that had to do with Mike's firing, we won't know. But it'll be interesting to see how De'Aaron does, because I would be irresponsible not to point out that there is a track record here with De'Aaron Fox. He missed a lot of time. Was it an ankle? Was it not an ankle? When Hallie was here. Hallie gets traded, Fox is back on the court. Looks like Fox again. Last year, almost a year to this date, he was not speaking to the media for 16 days. His numbers were down across the board. Points, assists, turnovers up, etc. And now we go through this stretch. And De'Aaron popped back after that. And that was, it's been reported by Sam Amick, a miscommunication. He felt slighted. He felt disrespected. So are we going to see a better version of Fox now that Mike is gone? If you do, great for the win and loss column. But what's that tell you about Fox? Is that the guy you build around? It's a really, really slippery slope. And I said it yesterday, and I stand by it. Making this move the way you did, by default, just cements the fact that this franchise is in De'Aaron Fox's palm. Period. End of story. So getting you ready tonight. Yeah, right, Flores? Right? He's kind of playing that heel. And to his credit, he's playing it well. Now, whether that's coming from Rich Paul, whether that's just De'Aaron being De'Aaron, getting more vocal, it is what it is. We'll see if it continues. Players can't be fired. They have guaranteed contracts. Otherwise, some would get fired. Well, players can be fired. They can be cut. That is the same thing. You can be cut. You can be cut. Maybe he was fighting with his wife. Yeah, I doubt it, DSC. I actually feel bad. That comment is
struggling.
Come on, dude. Do better. Doug, Jeff, it's a valid point. It's a valid point, my man. There's a trend there. But that's not why we're here to talk about the past and rehash that. We're here to talk about the Kings and the Lakers. No LeBron James tonight. Historically, Kings teams, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, when there's a coaching change, usually there's a little bit of bump. You might see a win tonight. You might see a win on the 30th, but usually it's going to even out after that. So what are your expectations for tonight? Are you expecting to see the rotation change? One thing that I think we will definitely see change is Keon Ellis and his minutes. I think Keon's minutes will definitely go up under Doug. That was a move by Mike Brown that definitely got some criticism, both from a lot of the fan base and the people that are on this show. Myself, Jerry, Grant, we were all critical of why Keon was not playing. And in fact, we can go back and point the finger at Mike Brown for the first loss against the Lakers this year, where LeBron railed off, I believe it was 19 or 21 points in a row, and Mike Brown did not call a timeout and did not adjust to that whatsoever. That was one of his worst games that I can remember as the coach of the Kings. But tonight, the Kings look for a different result. Remember, the Lakers came into Sacramento and beat them 2 games in a row as part of this 5-game losing streak. This is the 3rd matchup between these teams in under 10 days. Andrew, what's up, my man? Mike Brown was a good coach, but his rotations weren't the best. Knowing our bench is horrible, but you got to play with what you got. Yeah, and we've got to draw that line too. When I talk about moves and what could be forthcoming, I don't see anything happening with Monty McNair until the end of the season. You've got too many big decisions. And the way, and I would challenge you to tell me otherwise, but I don't think that there's a big plan here. Mike Brown's firing yesterday was not the first domino to fall. The way that Mike Brown was fired yesterday tells me that Vivek Ranadive is flying by the seat of his pants. He has no idea what's next. And it also tells me that there's people in his ear. There's no doubt about that. Now, who those people are, I don't know. De'Aaron Fox, one of them? Maybe. Doug Christie? Maybe. Could it be another coach? Maybe. Somebody else in the front office? Maybe. We don't know. But the way that Mike Brown was fired, if you have a plan and that's part of it, you do it the right way. You don't fire him on the way to the airport with a phone call after you coach practice and talk to the media. What are we talking about? You know, there is a valid point to this. Keon's basketball IQ, suspect at times. Furious, I don't think it's so much Keon's IQ. I think it's Keon adjusting to the speed of the NBA. I get that he's now just about at that 1-year mark where he's gotten minutes for this team, or I would say right about now, last year is when Keon started to get a look for this team. So you would expect it to be slowing down a little bit, but I think you also have to give a little grace to some of these guys in this sense. It's very hard to catch a flow when you don't know what your role is. It's very hard to catch a flow when your minutes are inconsistent. You don't know what to expect. The one guy that I point to is Kevin Huerter. Now that Kevin Huerter's coming off the bench, he knows, or I should say he knew under Mike Brown when he would be going into the game and when he would be going out. He knew that coming into every single game, coming off the bench after Malik Monk entered the starting lineup. He also knew his role was to score for that second unit. Now, do you expect any big changes under Doug Christie? I've put forth an idea that I think DeMar DeRozan should be coming off the bench. Now that you have a healthy Trey Lyles, I would insert Trey into the starting lineup for many reasons, but will Doug Christie's fingerprints be all over this team going forward? Will we see the same sets? Will we see the same rotations? We'll find out here in just a little bit. Kings and the Lakers from LA getting ready to tip off. Remember, no LeBron James in this one. No LeBron James, so that helps the Kings out. Kings, healthy. If you're joining us also right now, Devin Carter did play tonight for the Stockton Kings. They won 109-107. They're back in action tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Devin had 29 points. It will be up to Devin and how he feels, whether or not he plays tomorrow night. So we'll see. The Kings do better on the road. The road, I mean, technically has not been the problem. The home court's been the problem. I mean, you can do better on the road, but the home court, 6-12, you're almost halfway through your home portion of the schedule, and you are 6 games under 500. Speaking of the West and home courts, let's take a look at where the West is at coming into action tonight. The Golden State Warriors continuing their struggles. They're still looking to make a big move, possibly maybe a Brandon Ingram type, maybe something bigger there. LeBron James, doubt it, but that has been out there as well. Phoenix also back to 500. Here's what I'd point out to you. Progressive, plug your ears. Plug your ears. Look at the net ratings for these teams that are in the playoffs or the play-in. You've got 3 of them that are in the negative. Look at your Sacramento Kings. They are still positive at 1.1. That tells you that this team is underachieving. If the numbers still bear that out, there is more to get out of this team. And hopefully Doug Christie can do that tonight. It seems so odd to say Doug Christie is going to be coaching the Kings tonight. And we can look at the bottom of the Western Conference as well. Even the selection of Doug Christie does not make any sense. How Jay Triano, who is the associate head coach, does not get that nod is very confusing to me. In fact, I would have expected Luke Laux to get that nod over Doug Christie. After all, Luke is the defensive coordinator for the team. In the circumstances of Christie being on this staff, he was a Luke Walton hire. He was a Luke Walton hire who carried over to the Mike Brown staff. Now, was that Mike Brown's decision? We'll never know. But now he's the head coach? Very interesting. Very interesting. It's not odd, Ryan. It was all part of the plan. Yeah, what plan? There was no plan. Taco, look, I don't disagree with you. I don't. I think there's something to that. I definitely do. Let's see. What, Ryan? Doug Christie playing tonight? Yeah. Yeah, he's going to bust out his jersey from the garage. He warmed up in his driveway, practices media availability. Yeah, he's going to play tonight. You got it. Good job, Furious. Well done, Furious. Damn! Come on, Furious. Let's see as we can keep rolling through. By the way, do me a favor. We've got 940 that have checked in so far tonight. Where are y'all watching from? Where are you at in the U.S., in the world? Let me know where you're watching from and give me your predictions for the final score tonight. Let me know what you think the final score will be and let me know where you're watching from. We'll get to those here in a second. Again, big news here. No LeBron James for the Lakers tonight. He is out with an illness. The Kings back to 100%. Doug Christie, first head coaching game this year for him. And how he uses his staff. Will we see any differences with the defense? Those are the things that I'm going to be looking for tonight. I'm not going to be looking to see how many points De'Aaron Fox scores. I'm not going to be looking to see if they put Domas in different places. I'm going to be looking for the deficits that we've seen from this team. Transition, not getting out there enough. Hell, Doug Christie made his living on the defensive end of the court. I would sure as hell expect to see some more pressure. Why not? You've got guys on the bench that have 6 fouls to use. Now, I'm not advocating for jungle ball and going out there and, just hacking and getting into the penalty. But what I am saying is be aggressive. Hit first. That's something this Kings team has refused to do most of this season. In the games that they've done it, they've won. And they've been their best games of the season. So I'm looking for the little things tonight just to get a little glimpse. See if Doug's ready for his moment. See if Doug is ready to lead this team. And I would expect, by the way, that Doug Christie coaches this team through the end of the year. It would be an even bigger fumble if the Kings hire a permanent head coach during the season, because usually GM and coach go together. So if you get a permanent head coach during the season, that tells me that this organization has a lot of belief in Monty McNair. That tells me that Monty might not be going anywhere. So again, let me know where you're watching the show from. Give us your final scores. We're brought to you tonight by Bennett's Westside Grill in Rockland, their third location here in the greater Sacramento area. Get out this weekend for brunch. I know today was kind of hit and miss with the weather, but it is still a great thing on the weekends to get out there for their mimosas, awesome entrees. In fact, you can get a bottle of champagne and 2 entrees for under $50. Also, they've got their prime rib special going through the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday happy hour during the week, 2 to 6 o'clock. And if you've got to get together, if you're hosting a party Why not let Bennett's do the work for you? I'm going to kick it to my man, Brian Bennett, owner. Check it out.
I don't know about you, but if you're thinking about having a holiday party or a party of any kind, and you don't ask us to make our house smoked salmon, to grill our prime New York steak, to grill long stem artichokes, to make ahi pokey. What are you talking about? You're going to have a party and you're not going to call Bennett's and take care of you? My goodness gracious. Give us a call. We can make this for Easter. We can make it for Christmas. We can make it for anybody's birthday.
And you can give him a call by going to bennettsrestaurants.com. Did I make you hungry? I know that made me hungry. I love Brian. Such a good guy. Go to bennettsrestaurants.com. You can learn more about their entire menu of prime seafood and steak. Also, you can check out the locations, make reservations, put your orders in to go, and much more. That's bennettsrestaurants.com. Kings, Lakers, from one of the worst arenas, in my opinion, in the association. Let's see. What's up, Athena? Hope you are doing well. Yeah, Rick Fox, he's probably going to be in the building. That was probably the highlight of Doug Christie's career. That was probably the highlight. I wonder if we're going to get any of these tonight when Doug calls a play. You think those are coming back? Tay, Kings 115-99. Okay, Doug will be the coach for a few years because who wants to come coach after Mike Brown? It's a good point. It's a good point. You can't, if we're going to draw a line in the sand and we're going to say, I would like to coach, and it's just not basketball. Let's go all of sports. These are the organizations. These are the owners that I would love to work for. I can promise you the Kings are not on that list. They're on the list with James Dolan. They're on the list with, do I even have to say it? With this guy?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Jera? I mean, would you rather work for Vivek or Jera? Neither seem too exciting. But yes, Jerry Jones.
Mama did wild game as good as anybody I've ever seen.
The Kings are closer to that. So yes, you are not going to attract great candidates. And what about job security? What about job security? I'll tell you what you will attract. You'll attract coaches who want to come for a paycheck and may not care. And I can promise you that was not Mike Brown. If anything, I thought Tyronn Lue illustrated it the best. Tyronn Lue said, you got to find the middle, I guess, because I don't know anybody more prepared than Mike Brown. If I look at one thing, and you want to talk about a disconnect where Mike's fatal mistake, in my opinion, and we'll get you out to the game here in just a second. Mike's biggest mistake was giving the players too much autonomy. Year 2, last year, he gave them too much autonomy to call the plays offensively. He gave them too much. Kind of like a game of tug of war. Because you want it to be a good game, a competitive game, back and forth. That's okay. But when that flag crosses all the way over and your team comes across that line, it's nearly impossible to pull it back. And I think that's what we saw this year. Because when you bring in a guy like DeMar DeRozan, you need more structure. You have to. And I don't think that particularly set well with some of the guys on this roster. Dirt and Rust. Oh, by the way, Zakara, DC, love it. Dirt and Rust, Kings 122, Lakers 82. Interesting. Ed, Tampa, Love it. 120, 116. Good stuff. Good stuff. Light the beam. Gammon's in the house. What's up, Gammon? Those are the only scores I'm seeing right now. All right. So, hey, don't forget, thanks for being here, by the way, for the pregame. We are here all night. Again, make sure you come back at halftime. I believe it's going to be the first time Jerry. Oh my God. I can't believe I almost said Jerry Jones. The first time the one and only Mr. Holy Moly Jim Bob Boley, Jerry Reynolds, will be giving us his take on what has gone down the last 48 hours with this Sacramento Kings team and organization. So join us at the intermission right here on If You Don't Like That, X, YouTube. Find us. And then post game, Grant and I will be here as long as we need to take your calls, talk about this game, and talk about what's next for this franchise. Can they get a little bit of a bump tonight coming off the firing of Mike Brown? We will see. Again, no LeBron James in this one. That is the most notable thing to know. Kings looking for their first win of the season against the Lakers. 0-3 so far. Third meeting in 10 days, in under 10 days for the Kings, also looking to break that 5-game losing streak. I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure, please, that you are subscribed to the channel. Give us a thumbs up, a like. Really appreciate it. You all are the best. We are back at the half with Jerry and Grant. Hopefully, we are talking about a competitive first half, better first half. But more importantly, we'll get Jerry Reynolds' take on everything that's gone on in Kingsland the last 24 hours. Go Kings, light the damn beam. We'll see you at the half.